What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the top reasons why I love living in Breckenridge, Colorado. So grab a cup of your favorite drink and let's get right into my top 15 reasons. All right, my number one reason and the best reason to live here in Breckenridge is skiing. Breckenridge, Colorado is home to 4 world-class ski resorts, including a 5th just outside of Summit County, but we'll focus on the ones in Summit County today. Breckenridge is one of my favorites. It's one of the first ones I started skiing when I moved out here. It spans 5 peaks, aptly named Peak 6 through 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and a variety of different terrain, a very family-friendly resort, and tons of different options for all of you ski enthusiasts out there. So if you're looking for the most family-friendly, easy, groomer kind of runs, you're gonna look at Peak 7 and Peak 8, which are home to more of the green and blue runs, as long as you stay on the lower level terrain, meaning below tree line. If you're looking for some more advanced terrain outside of that, you can look towards the upper terrain of Peak 6, and then the entirety of Peak 10. I know some of my favorite skiing is going to be found on Peak 10, a lot of black and double black runs, gladed runs with wide open, spaced out trees, so it makes it really fun for a powder day. If you want to do some really expert terrain, you can take Imperial Chair, which is the highest chairlift in North America, and it'll take you up to the lake chutes as well as Whale's Tail off to the other side going towards Peak 7. All of that wide open bowls, blacks and double black ski runs, so expect it to be pretty steep, but I've had some of my best days at the upper level terrain in Breckenridge. And then when the sun is shining and the snow hasn't been that great and it's almost warm enough to have a t-shirt on, I usually stick to the lower level terrain of Peak 9, Peak 7, and Peak 6. Those are some of my favorite blue runs as well. And then the hike up to the top of Peak 6 will take you to some of the best terrain in all of Breckenridge. So there's tons of variety for whatever kind of skiing that you like to do. My personal favorite mountain here in Summit County is got to be a toss-up between Copper and A-Basin. Copper has their back bowls, which are infamous for some of the steepest terrain in Summit County, all double blacks and blacks, chutes, cliffs, trees. If you're an extreme skier, you're gonna freaking love it. It is seriously some of the best terrain out there. If you want something more family friendly, I recommend the front side of Copper or going to Keystone, and Keystone has a multitude of different options for beginners, including Schoolmarm, which is notorious for being the longest run here in Summit County at over 3.5 miles long from top to bottom, but that doesn't mean you can't find powder at Keystone. Go all the way to the Outback Express. It's a bit of a hike to get back there, and by hike I mean a couple of different chairlifts to get back there, but I've had some of my best powder days out in the North and South Peak, and those bowls are incredible, wide open, not too steep, so on a powder day it just feels like you're floating on a cloud. The best. And again, skiing is one of the best reasons to live here. If you guys want help navigating all of the different ski resorts out here and finding the trails that are best suited for you, either comment down below or text me at my personal cell here and I will hook you guys up. Now, with all that skiing, you might be thinking there's probably not a ton of sunshine here. Well, you'd be wrong, and that brings me to my number 2 reason of why I love living here, and that is the sunshine that we get here in Colorado. Colorado averages about 300 sunny days a year, and June and July are gonna be your sunniest months with the best temperature. And on average, July and June get about 12 to 13 hours of sunshine per day. So you think about your typical day, you're up for about maybe 16 hours, you sleep for 8, about 12 to 13 of those hours, basically most of the day, it's gonna be sun shining, and it's perfect for all of your outdoor activities and everything you wanna do. Most summer days, I'm out mountain biking first thing in the morning or out for a walk with my dog, and then it is sunny the entire day, which is great. So if you're looking for a break from overcast on the East Coast or rain on the West Coast or whatever, you can come here, get 300 days of sunshine, similar to Florida and Arizona, except it never gets above 80 degrees in the summertime here, which is perfect. It doesn't get that hot. And even in the winter, we get sunshine as well. When it's not snowing, typically on a day like today, it is about 35 degrees. The sun is out. I'm actually zipping off my jacket, walking around in t-shirts, and some people are even crazy enough to walk around in shorts, but it literally can feel that warm. So get ready for sunshine year round, because that's what you're gonna find here in Breckenridge. Now, I mentioned summer in the last reason and why I love Breckenridge, and for the third reason, that's exactly what we're gonna be talking about here, summer. Summer is the best in the country. In my humble opinion, I'm serious, I think it's the best. It never gets above 80 degrees, as I mentioned before, and there are so many different activities to do, actually more than the winter time, if you can believe that. We've got hiking, biking, golfing, rafting, kayaking, fishing, paddleboarding, horseback riding, off-roading, literally anything you can think of. We even have surfing out here in Colorado. If you're a big surfer and think you can only find that on the coast, you can actually find it here in Colorado. There are tons of different wave parks along the Arkansas and Colorado River found in and around Breckenridge, so you can actually do a little bit of surfing. So we have literally everything here for the summertime. Now, my personal favorite things to do in the summertime are mainly mountain biking and camping. If you're a big mountain biker, there are tons of different events and tons of groups out here that are super into the sport. So if you want to do a race or get some friends together to go for a mountain bike ride, you'll find an abundance of trails, the majority of which are in Breckenridge, so that's great. You can pretty much pedal from your back door, and then the camping here is insane. I've had many nights with my fiance and my dog Summit out in the wilderness. We literally pop up our rooftop tent on top of our 4Runner, and we're out looking at the stars. The skies are usually clear most nights because it's so dry. We don't get a lot of that moisture, which means we don't get a lot of cloud coverage. So my perfect summer day in Breckenridge would be a morning hike to the Sawmill Reservoir, which is about a 30 to 45 minute loop out and back. Then I would probably go downtown to grab a coffee at Cool River Coffee House. After that, I'm looking to either do a mountain bike ride up Carter Park towards the Barney Ford trails, or maybe toss a fly fishing line down by the Blue River, or continue the walking on the recreation path. Then after that, I'd be looking to do a gondola ride. The gondola is free to ride in the summertime, and it stays open till about 5 o'clock in the evening. Take a gondola ride up to the base of the ski resort and hang out up there as well if you don't want to do any of the other active stuff. They have a mini golf course, alpine slide, high ropes course, tons of things to do for the kids. For dinner, I am heading downtown to one of my favorite restaurants. Personally, I am going for Giam's to get some pizza. Breckenridge Ale House for pizza is really great as well. Also tons of different great options for bar food. Ollie's for the best wings. Canteen also has a great selection. And then if you're thinking a little bit more fancy, I'd go Rootstock or Hearthstone. All right, what do you guys think of the list so far? Have I convinced you that Breckenridge is the place to be? I hope so. And if you decide that you want to make that move, call this number right here on the screen and you will talk to me personally. That is my cell phone number, so feel free to call or text and I will guide you through the process of buying a home here in Breckenridge. Now let's move on to the next top reason. All right, number 4 on the list is going to be biking. Whether you're a leisurely cyclist or a avid mountain biker ready to hit a race, we've got tons of options here for you. I am personally a mountain biker myself, my fiance more of a road cyclist. So if you're looking for some road cycling options, we have the recreation path that will take you all around the county, as well as all the way to Vail and Beaver Creek. Going over Vail Pass, you're a little over 11,000 feet there, so you can certainly challenge yourself if you want a nice road bike ride. We've got a couple of rental options that will shuttle you from the top of Vail Pass, so you get dropped off there, and then you can ride all the way downhill to Frisco, and then continue on to Breckenridge if you choose to do so. If you are more of a road racer or a mountain bike racer, we've got tons of options in that department as well. As for mountain biking trails, I highly like all of the trails up behind Carter Park, but we do have some options on mountain in Breckenridge right underneath the chairlift and on the ski resort as well. Now, if you're wondering just how cycling friendly Breckenridge is, Breckenridge was awarded the gold level bicycling community by the League of American Bicyclists. And some of the best trails to do in terms of mountain biking are going to be pretty intense if you're not used to this altitude. So bring your lungs with you because you're going to need them. A great trail though is to do Peaks Trail all the way to Frisco. It's mainly downhill from Breckenridge. You can also take a left about halfway off that trail and bike all the way to the top of the 10-mile range and over down into Copper, and then take the bike path all the way back to Frisco, or even wrap around all the way back to Breckenridge. In any case, if you decide that you're done biking and you're close to a Summit Stage bus stop, you can throw your bike on the rack and then take that bus back to Breckenridge and give your lungs a little bit of a break as well as your legs, because trust me, you're gonna need it biking at this altitude. Now, one quick thing that's crazy about mountain biking here, I personally remember mountain biking off in the back towards Baldy Mountain and Boreas Pass. There are a couple of great trails back there. As I was coming up to the top of the tree line, the trees were starting to thin out and I was huffing and puffing because I was climbing, and I kind of looked off to the side of the trail and saw what I thought was the trees moving. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm getting a little lightheaded and I just need to take a break for a second. So I did a double take, and sure enough, it was actually the legs of a cow moose about 10 feet off the side of the trail. And I kid you not, my jaw dropped literally because first of all, I was scared shitless. It was just crazy to see a moose that close right off of the side of the trail as I was mountain biking. Now, after a long day of bicycling, your legs are going to be toast, so you're gonna need some hot springs. So that brings us to our next reason as to why I love living in Breckenridge, and that is hot springs. Now, we technically don't have hot springs directly in Breckenridge, but within an hour and a half drive, you have got a multitude of different options. My favorites are going to be Hot Sulphur Hot Springs, Iron Mountain Hot Springs, Mount Princeton, and Strawberry Hot Springs over in Steamboat. If I were to pick one as the cleanest facility and the most family friendly, it's definitely gonna be Iron Mountain Hot Springs down in Glenwood Springs. They have the best facilities there. Everything is super clean. They even offer you a robe and towels if you want, with your own personal locker to store all of your stuff. They have food and drinks on site. And then for couples just looking for a romantic day, they have an adults only area, basically 18 and up, that you pay a little bit extra for. And those pools are super cool because they are world themed. So they have different minerals to mimic minerals found in different parts of the world, such as Switzerland, Japan, Italy, and so forth. Now, reason number 6 is generally why most people love coming to the Rocky Mountains and Breckenridge in particular, and that is the best views in the entire country. Looking at the Colorado Rocky Mountains is literally like no other, and you get an abundance of that in Breckenridge and Summit County. The easiest way to do that in Breckenridge is to drive up Boreas Pass Road. There is a little pull off to the side there, and you get an incredible sweeping view of the 10-mile range. You drive all the way up Boreas Pass to where it turns into a dirt road. There are some camping spots and some pull offs up there, and it just gets expansive. Big open sky, 10-mile range looking all the way down towards the Gore Mountain Range and Dillon and Silverthorne. And then pretty much anywhere you go in Summit County, the views are just incredible, whether you're on Lake Dillon at the amphitheater, whether you're hiking out in the backcountry. I live over in Silverthorne, so one of my favorite easy walks to do for some great views is the Oro Grande Trail, which is a basically old fire road overlooking the lake, 10-mile range, and the Gore Mountain Range, as well as the lake in the foreground. So views here are just endless, and as obviously you get out of Breckenridge, out of Summit County, going towards Eagle or coming back towards Jefferson, going towards Denver, the views just don't really ever stop, and it's one of the best reasons to live here. All right, one of the next reasons I love Breckenridge and Summit County is the culture here. It's a vibe, as the Gen Zers say. It is so down to earth here. Everybody is on island time, or mountain time as I like to call it. We all live out here to enjoy the outdoor lifestyle. I know in a lot of big cities, people live to work. Here we work to live. So we're outside enjoying the community, our friends, the skiing, the outdoor activities. And then more than that, Breckenridge has a great art scene as well. If you're into galleries, we've got a number of different galleries along Main Street in Breckenridge, and then we get some different events that allow artists from all around the world to come and express their artistic creativity, such as the snow sculptures, where teams come from around the world to carve 25-ton blocks of snow into these incredible creations. And we even have our own troll, which if you don't know anything about our troll, I highly recommend come checking it out. The artist who created this troll goes by Tom Danbo, I believe, and he created a troll that you can walk to right by the ice rink in Breckenridge, and it is a massive 15-foot tall wooden troll that hugs a tree, and it is just something like out of a fairy tale. So if you've got kids who have a creative imagination and they love seeing things like that, we have got that as well. So now this next one is going to be a favorite amongst a lot of you, I know for sure, because I have a pooch of my own, and that is Breckenridge is incredibly dog friendly. I'm constantly walking around town and bringing my dog into different bars. Usually restaurants won't allow dogs, but a lot of the bars will allow you to bring your dog and sit down while you have a drink. A lot of hotels are dog friendly, tons of dog friendly Airbnbs as well. So if you don't feel like leaving your dog home on vacation, which me and my fiance don't tend to do, we like to bring our dog with us. Breckenridge is the perfect place. Bring your dog everywhere you go, walk around town. You're gonna see tons of locals and tourists with their dogs, and it just makes it such a happy place when you see little doggies running around. All right, next on the list, and we're going back to outdoor activities because outdoor activities are why we moved to Breckenridge, and that's gonna be hiking. Hiking here is all varying levels of difficulty, from walking along the rec path along the riverside, checking out the Rocky Mountain vistas, to hiking all the way to the top of the 10-mile range and even over to Quandary, where you've got a hike that goes above 14,000 feet. That's a little over 3,000 feet in elevation change, and although the trail is only 6 miles to the top of Quandary Peak, it can take you up to 6 hours or even longer if you're not an experienced hiker. So you get all of these different varying terrain levels and varying difficulties for hiking in Breckenridge, and it just makes it an incredible place to get outside and go for a walk. Some of my favorite trails to do in Breckenridge: on the easier side, Sally Barber Mine is a great one. On the tougher side, I highly recommend checking out Blue and Mohawk Lakes off to the south of Breckenridge, where you can actually take your fly fishing rod with you, and as you get up to these alpine lakes, you're going to find wild trout up at the top there, so you can actually fish at the end of your hike. All right, number 10 reason why I love Breckenridge is its location and proximity to Denver. We are only an hour and 20-minute drive to Denver and about an hour and 40-minute drive to Denver International Airport. Now, I don't go to the city that often, but when I do, it is very convenient to have it only an hour to an hour and 20-minute drive from us here in Summit County. If you need some of that city life with some more food options and different things to do and other venues that you just won't find here in the mountains, you can just hop on I-70, go down there for a day trip, hang out for the day, come back up to the mountains. So that makes Breckenridge really great. And plus it makes Breckenridge the first stop from Denver. And that's why we're called Colorado's Playground, because most tourists, as they're coming up along I-70, Summit County is the first stop for most people to come and play out here in the Rocky Mountains. And the location here is just unbeatable. Okay, now if you're a nature enthusiast, you're gonna love this one. And one of the best reasons to live here is the vast array of wildlife that we find here in Breckenridge and Summit County. Again, I live in Silverthorne. I am consistently seeing fox in my backyard, magpie birds, and even moose. We actually have had moose right in our backyard, just on the other side of our fenced-in yard. And we're talking big bull moose with giant antlers right there. I could literally reach out and touch them, which again, I wouldn't recommend, but you can find things of all kinds, especially the deer family. You're gonna find moose, mule deer, and elk, especially if you love hunting. And then you're going to have things like bear, tons of different birds like magpies, and then things like fox and mountain lion as well. So if you're a nature enthusiast, you love looking at wildlife, bring the telescope with you and get out there and start looking, because you're gonna find it. And more likely than not, while you're hiking out in the wilderness, you might just end up walking up on something. All right, now let's settle down and let's do some camping. And one of the best reasons I love living here is the camping during the summertime is incredible. We've got tons of different paid campgrounds. If that's something that you're into, we've got the Peak One Campground, Heaton Bay Campground, Prospector Campground, and many others. But my favorite way to camp is going to be dispersed camping along National Forest roads and BLM land, where basically you can pitch a tent anywhere you want. So we'll take our 4Runner with the rooftop tent on top, and then we'll just kind of park into a flat spot, set up the rooftop tent. You don't need a permit of any kind, but we have tons of different camping options all around Summit County and further out into the rest of Colorado as well. Now, I know from personal experience, some of the best camping sites to look for, and it all depends on your personal preference, but something either heavily wooded in between trees so you could set up a hammock and hang a bunch of things if you need to. Or what I like to do is try to find something that kind of overlooks a cliff with big sweeping views and open sky so I can see the stars at night. Again, because it's very dry, we tend to get really clear nights, and because of the lack of light pollution, the stars here are just insane, so you gotta check that out. All right guys, I'm throwing a lot at you, so let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or if any of these reasons are popping out at you. Again, I'm happy to help answer any of the questions that you have. And now let's move on to reason number 13 as to why Breckenridge is amazing, and that is going to be music and entertainment. As a musician myself, I love the fact that we have some music venues, specifically here in Summit County and within a short drive. If you're looking for something in Summit County, Dillon Amphitheater is going to be your #1 choice for summer concerts, Fridays and Saturdays, paid shows, and then Mondays they do free shows for locals. So if you decide to move here, you get free shows, which are super cool. If you are looking for a bigger venue, Red Rocks Amphitheater down in Denver is going to be a great one. They get a little bit bigger names. And then Ball Arena and Empower Field or Mile High Stadium also have some of the bigger names. We had Taylor Swift come last year, if you're a Swiftie. And then we've got other venues around the state. Some of the more exclusive venues are things like Belly Up in Aspen, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from Breckenridge. And the Breckenridge itself has a small little venue in the Riverwalk Center where we get some local bands, orchestras, things of that nature. Probably not names that you're familiar with, but if you're just looking for a night out on the town and just to get away real quick, you can go there and enjoy some music at the Riverwalk Center. All right, I mentioned the community before, and this is going to be another top reason why Breckenridge is amazing, and that's all the events that we have year-round going on in Breckenridge and Summit County. Specifically, my favorite one is going to be First Friday over in Silverthorne, which again is about a 20 to 25-minute drive north of Breckenridge. But at the first Friday of every month, the town of Silverthorne puts on events such as concerts. One year they did a rail jam in the middle of the winter, got a bunch of semi-pro skiers out to show off their skills. So that's a great one to do, especially if you're a local, so look out for First Friday. And then one of the coolest events that Breckenridge does in the winter time to kind of kick off winter is the Race of the Santas and the Dog Parade. So the Race of the Santas is super cool. Basically, tons of people dress up as Santas and run up and down Main Street, and the winner gets some kind of prize, but basically it's mainly for people to dress up as Santa and kind of celebrate winter. And then they have the Dog Parade, which is specifically for Bernese Mountain Dogs. You'll see about 300 to 400 Bernese Mountain Dogs walking up and down Main Street, and then other people with other breeds of dogs will come and join in. So if you're a dog lover, like I mentioned before, the town is super dog friendly and you'll love the Dog Parade here in Breckenridge. And number 15 reason why Breckenridge is awesome is going to be the multitude of drink options that you get. Colorado is known for their brewery scene and microbrewery scene, and Breckenridge is no stranger to that. Breckenridge has a couple of different options from the Breckenridge Brewery. My personal favorite is the Breckenridge Distillery. I think they have the best cocktails in all of Summit County. We've got Carboy Winery if you're more of a wine snob. We've got the Cuchu Tequila Bistro if you're a tequila person over here in Silverthorne. Dillon Dam Brewery is one of the best breweries in all of Colorado. And then the cool thing about drinking at this altitude is that one drink is the equivalent of 3 drinks at sea level, which means you get to save some money and you'll feel it that much quicker. That being said, I would take it easy if you're not used to the altitude, as your hangovers can last a long time. So I would probably stick to 1 drink, and I would usually do it maybe a day or 2 after I show up and try to acclimate a little bit. All right, those are all of the reasons why you should live here. I know I just threw a ton of things at you guys, and believe it or not, there are actually even more reasons why you should live here. So if you're thinking about making that move, my name is Anthony. I am a local real estate agent here with Sotheby's International Realty, and I'll be happy to help you and answer any questions that you have about making the move out here to Breckenridge. So call this number on the screen below. You will talk directly with me, and let's make your dream of owning a home here in Breckenridge come true.